Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about the third movie in our Disney event, The Princess and the Frog, which is an animation adventure comedy film from 2009. This has a 7.1 on 108,173 votes. The spoiler-free synopsis: hardworking and ambitious Tiana dreams of one day opening the finest restaurant in New Orleans. Her dream takes a slight detour when she meets Prince Naveen, who has been turned into an amphibian by the evil Dr. How do you say that? I forgot.
Facilier.
Facilier?
Yeah, it's French.
Yeah, I figured. Mistaking her for a princess and hoping to break the spell, Naveen plants a kiss on poor Tiana, thereby turning her into a frog as well. The pair hop along on an adventure through the bayous to seek the help of a powerful voodoo priestess.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is directed by Ron Clements. He directed Moana, Hercules, and the other one I picked, Aladdin. I was like, yay! I picked the same director for both movies. I mean, it worked out. And it stars Anika Noni Rose, Bruno Campos, and Keith David.
So the ratings. IMDb, 29.9% of users rated this at a 7. The 18 to 29 age group rated this the highest. Metacritic, it's rated at a 73. Rotten Tomatoes, 85% on 192 critical reviews. 163 are fresh, 29 are rotten. So 2 of the fresh. Sandra Hall. The backgrounds are beautifully drawn. There are sunny days in the French Quarter, spooky nights among the live oaks hung in with Spanish moss, and a rousing denouement at the Mardi Gras.
I would agree.
Yep. This is rousing, not rising. My bad.
It's good.
Jim Scambry. If the film boasts any advantages over digital, it's in the pastel richness of its colors and the elasticity of its characters, who enjoy a degree of comic flexibility and a range of expressions we still don't get from computers. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I completely agree with that. I love how this was hand-drawn.
Yeah, I liked the animation in this one. So 2 rotten. Jeff Beck. The film looks great and has excellent voice talent, but the story itself is not particularly entertaining, and the music is quickly forgettable and could have been done much better with someone else writing the songs.
This person is obviously not a fan of Newman.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, you do realize the guy that wrote these songs has won Oscars for writing songs.
Yeah, he wrote all the songs for Toy Story. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Sam Bath. Despite the honest, authentic ideals, Disney's traditional animation studios can't cope with the imagination or storytelling of their colleagues, Pixar. I agree. I usually like Pixar movies better, but this one's not that bad.
I don't agree with it. I mean, Pixar is great. They're awesome. But, come on. You can't really compare the two.
The consensus. The warmth of traditional Disney animation makes this occasionally lightweight fairy tale update a lively and captivating confection for the holidays. Because this did come out around Christmas, a couple weeks before, so.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the, like, animated movies come out around, like, Thanksgiving or Christmas time.
Yeah.
In that holiday season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been going on for years.
So the money. The budget was $105 million. The total income in the U.S. is $104,400,899. Internationally, it made $162,644,866. Alright, so for a worldwide total of $267,045,765. Opening weekend, limited release at 2 theaters, it made $786,190, which is pretty good for just 2 theaters.
It is.
And then its wide release, it made $24,208,916.
And I'm guessing that limited release was probably one of them was at least in New Orleans.
So the all-time domestic rank is 663. Highest all-time rank was 405, which it hit on March 4th in 2010, which was just 3 months after it came out, so it's not bad. So the awards. It's nominated for 3 Oscars. It won 11 other awards and had 38 other nominations. The African American Film Critics Association won Best Screenplay, and it got 2nd place in the top 10 films. The Annie Awards, Animated Effects, Character Animation in a Feature Production, Voice Acting in a Feature Production for Jennifer Cody for playing Charlotte. The ASCAP Film and Television Music Awards, Randy Newman won that award, top box office film. Black Reel Awards, Best Voice Performance, Anika Noni Rose, Best Song for Almost There. The BMI Film and TV Awards, Best Film Music, Casting Society of America, Outstanding Achievement in Casting Animation Feature, and the Women's Film Critics Circle Awards, Best Animated Female, Anika Noni Rose. So, initial thoughts?
Well, this came out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And it was my senior year, actually, that came out. I remember watching it, and I loved it. Because I was like, it's a Disney movie that features a lot of jazz music. I'm all in. And, yeah, I mean, that was my driving point. I loved it. And then I heard John Goodman is in it, so that is even more.
Yeah.
Love it. Great story, great animation, great songs. Yeah, I mean, I just love this movie.
I remember seeing it. I think I saw it probably a year after it came out, from what I remember. So I didn't watch it in theaters. Just came out right before I moved to Colorado. I remember. I liked it. I liked how it was pretty different from every other Disney movie. Like, it just came up with its own thing. It wasn't really... Even though it's called The Princess and the Frog, it wasn't, like, mainly, oh, let's do all the princessy stuff. Like, she wanted to be a chef. She wanted to run a restaurant, and I thought that was really cool for a Disney movie. And I really liked the voodoo aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because when I was little, I played Sly Cooper, and there was a boss that was a voodoo priest, like a voodoo alligator. So I thought that was really cool in this movie, that they had the voodoo in it. I like the music for the most part. I'm just not really big on jazz, but I mean, this is actually pretty good for me, so.
There we go.
I I really like the animation, especially when she's got that dream thing going on, and it's not really a dream, but she's like singing, and it's in the same animation style as that picture she carries around. I really like that part. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not my favorite ever, but it's still good.
And to add to how it's not all the romance stuff, that's another driving point too. Yeah, because I was like, man, she's not even focused on any of that. She's like, I don't care about that. I'm focused on my dream. I want to know, a restaurant. I'm gonna get to my dream. I don't care whatever gets in my way. Yeah, I love that.
So I think that's all I got for initial thoughts.
Yeah.
That was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then come back after you've watched it. So we start off in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we hear, like, this little fairy tale. It's the one where the princess kisses the frog and the frog turns into a prince and they get married.
The frog prince.
Yeah. And Tiana and her friend Charlotte are listening to Tiana's mother.
Eudora.
Yeah, I don't remember what her name is.
Eudora.
So they're listening to this story, and Charlotte's, like, super invested in it, and Tiana's like, okay, I'm never kissing a frog, but okay.
She's like, ugh.
Yeah.
She's like, gross.
Yeah. And I really like the dynamic between the two, because you've got the one who's, like, super invested in the fairy tales and wants everything to do with that, and then you've got the other one who's like, I mean, it's a cool story.
See, I believe this would be me and you.
Probably.
You'd be Tiana and I'd be Charlotte.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's a cool story, but I don't really care. Like,
exactly. Because Eudora's there, she's making a dress for Charlotte.
Yeah. Because she's Charlotte's personal seamstress, pretty much. Yeah. And she does other stuff, too, but she does pretty much everything for Charlotte.
Yeah.
But Dad comes home, which is played by John Goodman, yeah. And
Big Daddy LaBeouf.
Yep. He spoils his daughter.
Completely. Brings her a puppy.
Yeah, he does bring her a puppy, which is really funny. So then Tiana and Eudora go home, and Tiana is helping her dad James cook some gumbo, and they both have the same dream that they're gonna open up a restaurant one day. And so her father is, like, writing on the little picture that he has, and he calls it Tiana's Place.
Yeah.
And this is the picture I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's a very sweet picture.
Yeah. And they encourage her to invite people in to have the gumbo, so the whole little neighborhood there has some gumbo, which is kind of cool.
And as they tell her about, like, when she's in bed and everything, that, that even though she's trying to pursue her dreams, that, there's more to life than just working all the time.
Yeah. And also that she can wish upon the star, because they see the evening star and she's wish upon it. She wishes. But her dad also says that just because you make a wish doesn't mean it's immediately going to come true. You have to put some work into it.
Yeah, some work.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good message because, like, pretty much all the other Disney movies, they make it seem like you wish for something, it's immediately going to come true.
Yeah, this one's a little more realistic that way.
Yeah.
So, It's funny how, so after her parents leave and everything, she goes out, sees the evening star, and she's looking up, wishing, and she sees a frog right next to her.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then she, like, squeals and runs away.
Yeah. And then it's like, it's been a few years. And
I think it's been, like, because it goes into, like, the 1920s now.
Okay.
So I think it's been about
15.
It's been a while.
I'd say at least 15.
Yeah. Because she's older now.
Yeah, she's working a few jobs, and her dad has passed away.
And you see that he's in a military uniform.
Yeah.
In his picture, there's a medal there. So, just guessing timeline, it was probably because of World War I.
Yeah.
That he was killed in.
Probably.
That's just my guess.
It's a good guess. That's what I was thinking, too.
Okay. Yeah, she has to work 2 jobs.
Because she's trying to save up all kinds of money so she can put the down payment on this place. It's a sugar mill that she's trying to buy to turn into her restaurant.
It's a little run-down place, too.
Yeah. And it's cool because you see her get back from one job, and she puts all her money in a jar, and then she pushes it back to the back of the drawer, and then you see all kinds of jars and stuff. And then she, like, lays down for... I feel like they kind of over-exaggerated this, but I also feel like this is exactly how it feels, working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Because, like, she lays down for maybe 10 seconds, and then she's back up again going to work. And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel every day.
I was wondering if you can relate to that.
Oh, yes. It's so tiring.
But, of course, when you're working 2 jobs, it really leaves you no time for anything else.
Seriously. Like, I barely have time to sleep, let alone go hang out with friends. And that's the thing, is, like, her friends are at her job in the morning that she goes to, and they're like, you gonna come out dancing with us tonight? And she's like, no, I've gotta work. And I'm like, that's how I feel. I'm like, I can't go anywhere because I gotta work.
And at her job in the morning, this is where she, Charlotte comes in.
Yeah, with her dad.
Yeah, this is also a song right here, too.
Yeah. I don't
Down
remember.
in New Orleans.
Okay, I don't remember what the song names are, but I do know I like most of them.
Yeah, this is pretty good. This is actually sung by a guy from New Orleans.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He's a jazz musician, too, which helps.
Yeah.
Dr. John.
But Charlotte comes in and she is throwing a masquerade type party for tonight. Which is kind of funny when we get to it later.
Yeah, it is.
But she wants to order, like 500 beignets?
Yeah. Beignets are like, how'd you describe them? To me, they remind me of sopapillas.
Yeah, I was going to say they're very New Orleans sopapillas.
They're like donuts.
Yeah.
They are.
Which sopapillas are like donuts, so, I mean...
In a way.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, fried bread.
Yeah, it's fried dough.
Fried dough. Yeah, I mean...
They're just all made slightly different. And
Yes.
also topped slightly different.
Yes.
So.
It's very true. Because she's ordering all these because there's a prince coming to town.
Yep.
Prince Naveen from Maldonia.
Yeah, and her dad says that the best way to woo a man is to cook for him.
Through his stomach. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's true. That works for both genders. Well, both sexes, actually.
Yeah. I would agree.
I was like, Logan knows. If he cooks me some, like, sausage and potatoes, I love it.
But yeah, Charlotte pays a ton of money to Tiana to cater, and Tiana's like super excited because she figures out that that's exactly how much she needed to put the down payment on the restaurant that she wants.
Yeah.
So she's out there with the building's owners, and she's telling them that she'll give them the money and she'll sign the papers tonight at the party.
Yeah.
And so she takes Eudora down there, and Eudora is happy that Tiana's getting what she wants, but she's also kind of worried because she thinks Tiana's just working herself to death.
I could see that. It's just, concerned mother.
Yeah.
She's like, I want you to be happy. You're focusing too much on this.
Yeah. And then, we have seen Prince Naveen arrive.
Yes.
So he's roaming the streets with his, ukulele. He's entertaining people with the band. There's a band he found, and he's hanging out with them and dancing around and everything. And, his assistant,
Lawrence.
Yeah, that's his name. Which he reminds me of another Disney character, but I can't think of the name of him.
Well, he reminds me of the actor who played, well, here, I'll tell you who it is. It's Cogsworth from Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. That's not who he reminds me of, but
that's who he reminds me of.
I'm not going, based off his voice or anything. I'm just going based off how he's, drawn.
That's how I'm basing him off.
Oh.
But again, I've seen this a bunch of times, and I've seen Beauty and the Beast a bunch of times. So. That's me. You can think of the character just interjected.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to. My brain's not working right now.
Yeah. Well, you forgot a little something. Well, she's showing her mom the restaurant. That's where that animated scene is. With the song Almost There. That's that cool animation, which reminds me of actually the 1920s style.
Yeah, it really does.
Which, I mean, this time right now is the 1920s. Because jazz is, really big right now in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Because this is probably a few years after the original Dixieland Jazz Band released their album. Which was, in 1917 or so.
Okay. But Lawrence comes up and is mad at Prince Naveen because he's been looking all over for him. He's like, I've been avoiding you all over. And he says that they're going to be late for the LaBeouf's masquerade ball tonight. And Naveen's like, I don't care. I'm having fun. But we find out, because he offers to buy everyone in the crowd a drink. And Lawrence is like, how are you going to do that? You don't got no money.
He's like, the only way you can, fix all your money problems is either you woo this rich lady that we're going to the party to tonight, or you get a job.
Yep. And so Naveen agrees. But there's, we see Facilier.
Dr. Facilier. Love him.
Running around, and I love his costume.
Yes, it's a great costume. It's
great.
Awesome.
But he kind of woos them towards his little shop of tarot card readings, charms, potions, and dreams made real. And he, pretends to read the prince's palm, recognizing him from the morning paper, and Lawrence points that out. But it leads him back to his little shop and everything. And, that's where he does a tarot card reading for Naveen and Lawrence.
Yes, this is the song Friends from the Other Side.
Yeah, I really like this, and it's very dark.
Oh, it's great. I just love Keith David's voice.
Yeah.
He's great. He does a lot of good voice acting. He does this one. He is in Coraline. And he also does some voice acting, I know, because I watched a lot Rick and Morty.
He's just great in general, and everything I've seen him in, he's done a really good job. But he does the tarot card reading for Naveen and Lawrence, and Naveen, he says that the prince needs to marry a young woman, a rich woman, but saying that it conflicts with his desire to be free and have fun.
Tied down.
Yeah.
Hopping from place to place. I was like, yay, foreshadowing.
But he says that freedom takes money, and then he says the prince will be wealthy in his future. And then he goes to Lawrence, and he concludes that he's been pushed around all his life, but I mean, you know, he's a servant to the prince, so that makes sense. And he's always wanted to be rich, and he's always wanted to be powerful. And then he says that Lawrence is going to get all of that very soon. Literally. And so he shakes hands with both of them. Naveen's kind of like, I don't know about this, and Lawrence is like, heck yeah!
Shakes hands, and so what the Dr. Facilier, like they call him the voodoo man.
Yeah.
What happens is all this crazy like voodoo stuff comes out, like all the dolls and all of that, and like this necklace comes out, and it's like he uses it to bite down on Naveen's finger to get his blood. And he, like, Naveen starts, like, changing.
Yep.
You don't see what he changes into, but you see, like, he starts changing into something.
Yep. And then we see Tiana, and she's setting up her beignets at the LaBeouf mansion. And Charlotte comes over, and she's, like, super happy that she's there, but she's also kind of worried because the party's been going on for a bit, and Prince Naveen is not there. And also, let me tell you, this is, like, the strangest masquerade party I have ever seen in my life. Because I seriously thought the point of a masquerade party was to, like, have those little masks that hide your face.
Yeah.
Kind of. But these people are full on wearing costumes.
I mean, it's a costume party, too.
But like, there's one guy wearing a full alligator suit, and then the two guys that own the sugar plantation that Tiana's trying to buy are in a horse.
It's actually a donkey.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because what they tell her.
They tell her that someone else has put in a bid on the place, and they are going to pay in cash the full amount. So they're going to go with that guy instead of her.
She's like, let's say you can come up with more money.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this is, they're like, a woman of your background. I was like, excuse me?
Like, that's rude.
I was like, that's racist, too.
Yeah.
Completely. I was like, wow. But I'm glad they showed that actually in here.
Yeah, because it definitely did happen.
All the time. Sadly.
Yeah. So she's super upset about everything, and she kind of makes a mess of her little table there and gets it all over her dress that she's wearing.
Yeah.
Or her little outfit. And so Charlotte sees this and takes Tiana upstairs and helps her by giving her a blue gown to change into. And she wears a tiara with it, which is kind of cool because it reflects the beginning when they were sitting there listening to the story.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous dress.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, it's
I
so
like the
pretty.
color of it.
It reminds me of Cinderella.
Yeah.
And her tiara looks just like Cinderella's too.
Does it? I haven't seen Cinderella in a long time. I don't really care for that one too much.
Oh, I know.
But at this point, Prince Naveen has shown up. So
Prince Naveen.
Charlotte runs back downstairs because she's super excited.
Oh my god, I love this part. She's like, well, back into the fray. And she, like, lifts up the top of her dress. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
That was funny.
So Tiana goes outside, like on the little balcony of Charlotte's room, and she sees the North Star, or I guess the Evening Star.
Evening Star, yeah. And
she kind of sarcastically wishes on it, but then also, like, it's like half sarcastic, half real. Like, she's really wanting help, but she doesn't really know exactly how to word it because she's been working hard her whole life, so she doesn't really know what exactly she needs to wish for.
She's wishing, she wishes, and then she looks down, and she sees a frog. She's like, oh, come on. She's like, I'm guessing you want a kiss?
And the frog talks. He's like, yeah!
He's like, kissing would be nice. And she, like, freaks out and, like, backs away.
Throwing stuffed animals at him and all that.
Yeah.
And, she smacks him with a book. Well, first he says that he's Prince Naveen, and she doesn't believe him. And, because she says, there's a Prince Naveen down there dancing with Charlotte. And he's like, well, that's not me. And then she smacks him with the book.
And he's like, oh, it's a frog prince.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is perfect. This is how we can, you can help me out.
Yeah, because he thinks that she's a princess because she's wearing the tiara and the really fancy dress and everything.
Yeah. And so she's like, I do not kiss frogs.
Yeah.
No.
But she, does it anyways because Naveen says that his family is wealthy and that he can reward her if he gets some help from her. So she's like thinking about a restaurant and everything, and so she's like, alright, fine, and kisses him.
And there's this big ol', it's magic.
Yep. But we see that Naveen is still a frog, and now Tiana has been changed into a frog.
She's like, ugh! She's like, all green and slimy. And he's like, it's not slime, it's mucus.
Yeah. So she attacks him because she's not very happy.
Well, I'd be pissed too.
But they fly. Go ahead.
It's only natural that she'd be mad.
Yeah. But they fly out the window because she attacked him.
They land on this drum set. And the guy playing the drum set, we've been playing like this really slow, boring waltz. And then as soon as that drum hits, like he starts trying to hit him away, it gets in like this upbeat jazz feel.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yes, be able to start dancing better. It's great.
Yeah. But Big Daddy LaBeouf yells for Stella, which is the dog that Charlotte got at the very beginning of the movie, to catch the frogs. And they're like running all over the place and everything, and then they catch on to some balloons to fly away.
Because the dog, like, Tiana's like, Stella, no, it's me, Tiana. And, like, the dog's like, Tiana?
Yeah.
And it's funny because as animals, they can understand other animals.
Which is interesting. Because the way I see it is, like, it's the same thing with Lion King, too. Like, animals speak different languages like people do, so if you don't speak, like, say, frog doesn't know how to speak dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The power of Disney.
Yeah. But that's just how I see it. I'm like, animals don't know how to talk to each other.
They're all different languages.
Some of them do, yeah. I just see it as all different languages.
Makes sense.
That's just the way I see it. I don't know why. But so the masquerade ends because, this whole fiasco and everything. And The fake Prince Naveen runs over to the little cottage thing to grab he finds an empty jar. Because he wasn't supposed to let the real prince go, the frog, and Facilier is upset about it because he shows up behind him and is like really mad at him because he let Prince Naveen go.
He's like, he was gasping for air.
Yeah.
He's like, I just loosened it a little bit.
Yep. And we find out that this is Lawrence, and that the only way he is keeping this form of looking like Prince Naveen is because he's wearing a little blood-filled talisman around his neck, which it has the blood that Facilier took from earlier. And Lawrence is like, ooh, I don't know about this anymore. And he's not quite sure what he's doing and all that. And so he throws the talisman back to Facilier and tells him to wear it instead. And
he's like, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. I can't create voodoo. Can't use it for myself.
Yeah.
He's like, fun fact.
And then they talk about how the plan is for Lawrence to marry Charlotte. That way, Facilier can get rid of Big Daddy and share the fortune of Charlotte and Big Daddy. That's the whole master plan there.
So then it goes to Naveen and Tiana. They're hanging on to the balloon still. They're like flying away. And she's like, how the hell did you get into this mess?
Yeah.
And he's telling her about how he's talked to the, Facilier. And she's like, you were messing around with the voodoo man? He's like, it's very charming. And he's like, well, how come it didn't work? He's like, because she's not a princess? She's like, He's like, what? I thought you were a princess. She's like, it was a costume party.
Yeah. So she's a waitress and she's trying to open up her own restaurant.
So they're both just pissed off at each other.
Yeah. And some of the balloons pop and they fall down into the lake. And they almost get eaten by a few different animals. It's a fish, a crane, and some alligators.
Yeah.
But they escape narrowly.
And they hide in a tree.
Yeah. And they spend the night in the tree. So in the morning, Tiana is trying to make this little raft so that they can get back to New Orleans and become people again. Because she's like, I ain't staying as a frog. I got plans.
And of course, she's making this, and Naveen, being the lazy prince he is, doesn't help. But instead, he finds like this little twig with like some spider webs kind of stuck through it, so it looks kind of like a little guitar.
Yeah.
And he starts playing it, jamming along, minding his own business, and then you see like this big alligator coming up from behind him.
Yeah, it's about to eat Naveen, or at least it looks like it.
But he doesn't.
No. He pulls out a trumpet instead and starts playing along. Which is kind of funny. I think this is so funny.
He's like, I know that song!
Yeah. But his name is Louis.
Yes.
And Naveen explains that him and Tiana are both humans and that they were turned into frogs by the voodoo doctor.
And he's like, Louis like, you mean like Mama Odie?
Yeah.
We're like, who? She's like, she's the voodoo queen of the bayou.
Yeah. And she can do very similar things.
Yeah. And they're like, can you take us to her?
Yeah.
He's like, to the darkest part of, like, the body. He's like, no.
Yeah. So, Tiana's upset, so she returns to, the little paddle boat she made. And, Naveen is really determined, so he goes over and persuades Lewis to take them to Mama Odie.
He's like, she can turn you human so you can play trumpet.
Yeah.
And
fulfill his dream of becoming a jazz musician.
Yeah, so you won't scare people.
Yeah. So Lewis is like, okay, I'll do it.
So they get going. This is the song, what is it? Trying to remember the name of the song. I know this song.
I don't remember the names of the songs.
I do. This one just throwing a blank in my... It's a little blank. Hold up. When we're human. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, it starts with a W. I just can't think of the word. When we're human. This is a little song.
Yeah. So then we see the LaBeoufs again. The, little... Well, it's not really little. Their big little palace thing.
It's a mansion.
Yeah. And Charlotte and Lawrence, so imposter Prince Naveen, are having tea. And we slowly start to see that Lawrence is changing back into himself.
Yeah.
Like his ears start getting real big and...
It's actually pretty funny. And then I love the part where, like, he's like, oh, it's just mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And then his butt gets big.
And he realizes that, like, he looks at the medallion, or the talisman, and notices that half of the blood is used up, so he doesn't really have much time left.
Yeah, so he convinces, like, he tries to get Charlotte, like, away from seeing everything.
Yeah.
And he proposes.
She's like, of course.
And she's like, yeah, we're gonna have a Mardi Gras wedding. I'm like, wow. That's like, very, very soon.
Yep. And they watch, or Facilier shows up, and he just kind of appears, most of the time. He just shows up, like, I don't even know from where.
He hangs out in the shadows.
Yeah, because his shadow can move around on its own. But he watches all the blood drain, and Lawrence returns to his body, and he says that if he hadn't let Naveen go, this would not have happened.
Yeah.
And then...
So he's like, great, I gotta ask my friends from the other side to help out.
Yeah. So now we are back with the frogs and the alligator. And Tiana is telling Lewis about her dream and plans for the restaurant and everything. And, they are hungry, they realize.
Yeah. And so, like, they're frogs. So, of course,
Yeah.
they're going to start going out and going after flies.
Yeah. Well, they're not the best at it.
No. I mean, you're only a frog for a little while. You're not great at it.
Yeah. So Naveen and Tiana's tongues get tied in a knot. And Lewis is like struggling to help them, but he just makes it worse.
He's like, what would help? A sharp stick. I'll be right back. I'm like,
I mean, that's probably not the best idea.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna go find a stick. And then you see this little firefly come along. He's like, oh, you guys got yourself in a big old mess, huh? Got a little carried away. That made me laugh.
Yeah, I like the little firefly. His name is Ray.
Yeah, so he's like, alright, I'll help you out. Get them untangled and all that.
And he also says that they're heading in the wrong direction to meet Mama Odie.
And then, of course, Lewis comes out, and he's like, I got a stick! And Ray's like, never take directions from a gator.
Yeah, because he says that you'll always get lost.
It's like, first rule of the bayou, never take directions from the gator.
So he whistles and all these fireflies come up and it just lights it up. This is a really cool scene. I love fireflies. So this is a really cool scene.
Yeah, it's a great song, too.
Yeah.
Gonna take you there.
It kind of reminds me of the Lantern Festival in Tangled.
It's probably where they got the idea from.
Probably.
Because Tangled came out a couple years after this.
Yeah.
I think like 2, maybe?
I think it was 2, because it was right when I was about ready to graduate high school.
There we go.
So, Facilier is back in his shop, and he's talking to some totem heads, asking them for help finding Naveen. And they're not exactly the friendliest people, totems in the world.
And he's like trying to convince him, he's like, so. He's like, once I get rid of Big Daddy LaBeouf, the whole city of New Orleans is open. Yeah. And it's free for all of you to take over. And so they're like, all right. So the big old mouth opens up and all these shadows come out.
Yeah.
And they're like different kind of creatures and stuff like that too, looking.
Yeah. It's really cool how they made them all different.
Yeah. And so he tells them to go find Naveen and bring him back alive.
Yeah. Well, for now.
Well, yeah.
So we jump back to the bayou, and Ray is sending his relatives off, all the other little fireflies. He's sending them away again. And, because he's gonna go help Tiana and Naveen and Lewis find Mama Odie. And he tells Tiana that he is in love with Evangeline. But Naveen's like, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about.
He's like, don't settle down too quickly.
Yeah. Lewis gets, like a little scratch or something. He's, like, super dramatic about it.
He's like,
out.
Prickett Bush has got me. Get her down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a baby.
But so they're trying to get him out of the little bush and not paying much attention, and there's a trio of, there's like some hunters, and they're planning on catching Tiana and Naveen to eat them.
Frog legs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which are a popular dish in New Orleans. But they're not paying any attention at all. And so Tiana and Naveen walk away from Ray and Lewis and right into the path of the little guys there. Which is not good.
No. So, Naveen gets caught, and they both get caught, right?
Yeah.
But Cheek escapes by pushing those 2 fingers apart.
Yeah.
And jumping away.
And, Lewis and Ray spot the boat and the guys with the guns and everything. And, Lewis is really scared, so he falls back into the bush.
Ray's like, he's a mess.
Yeah. So Ray goes, he's like, well, if Lewis isn't gonna help, he's not doing much, so he goes up and flies up one of the guy's nose.
And gets Naveen free.
Yeah.
While she's running away, Tiana actually gets into their little cage in a way.
Yeah.
And so they put her in the boat they were in. And she tries to get out, but one guy sits on it.
Yeah. And, Prince Naveen is, like, super happy that he's free, but then he sees Tiana is trapped, so he starts following the boat. And then he jumps up on one of the guy's heads, which is funny because it causes the other guy to smack him. And it just causes this whole thing because they're trying to chase down the frog, and so they have to get off the little box that Tiana's in, and so she's able to get out.
And they just hop on these people, and so they just keep like hitting each other, and they pretty much just get all knocked out, all three of them.
Yeah. So they get back to Lewis and Ray, and once again they are trying to free Lewis from this little bush and get all the little pricks out of him and everything.
So she's like, okay, well, Ray's gonna get all those out. I'll make some gumbo.
Yeah, some swamp gumbo. Mm-mm. It's got like mushrooms and peppers and all kinds of stuff in it.
And she's like, Naveen, you're not gonna be sitting there doing nothing. You're gonna help.
But he's like, oh, I don't know how to do anything though.
And
like,
so
well, you're gonna learn.
So she shows him how. That's a little bit of sloppy animation there. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
Because it looks like she's cutting her hand.
It does. I was like,
I will admit that one. I noticed that one right away. I was like, that's just a little bit of animation, like, goof up, but...
But then we see that one of the shadows is around. And he's, kind of following the frogs, and he found some flowers, and, he, like, screeches, calling to the other shadows, because he found the trail.
Yep. And so, because Naveen, after he was telling Tiana while he's helping cut up, that since he lived in, like, a palace, everything was done for him, so he doesn't really know how to do anything.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. Kind of.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you live in a palace, you can still be like, hey, I want to do something.
True.
Instead of just being a spoiled, rotten little dude.
Yeah.
So they have eaten now, and Naveen is like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, super, good, and he says that she has a gift for cooking.
Yeah.
And that makes her really happy. And, Ray is, like, real uninterested in that conversation.
Because he looks up and he sees the evening star. He's like, it's her!
Yeah.
They're like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's Evangeline. And Lewis is like, that's just a star. And like, Naveen's like, shut up!
Yeah. And then we get a little,
I love it. It's such a cute little song.
Yeah.
My belle Evangeline. So cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
And so, Naveen asks Tiana to dance, but she doesn't want to, so she hops over to another lily pad. But she says that she doesn't dance, and Naveen's like, well, just come on. And, so they start dancing a little bit, and Lewis is playing his trumpet, and Ray has got his little butt light going.
It's a very pretty scene.
Yeah.
There's our little romance here.
Yeah, just a little bit. They're about to kiss, but Tiana pushes Naveen away and remarks that Charlotte is gonna have a really great dance partner. Because she remembers that this is gonna be Charlotte's husband, so. because Charlotte's, like, looking for him, and he's there for Charlotte because he needs to marry a wealthy woman, so.
Yeah.
The shadow grabs Naveen and starts dragging him away, and everybody runs after him, but they aren't quite fast enough to catch him. And, go ahead.
It's, there's these bursts of light that come out, and you see this little old lady come out, because, you know, the shadows run away, because, you know, shadows don't like light.
Yeah.
And so they run away, well, not really run away, fly away, I guess. It's Mama Odie. They see.
Yeah.
So she's like, now who was messing with the shadow man?
Yeah.
And they all point to Naveen, because it's him. And so she takes him back to her little place, her little tree house.
Yep.
And she's actually blind.
Yeah.
She's blind.
And she has a pet python that she uses as a walking stick.
Juju! He's cute.
Yeah. But so Tiana and Naveen are, like, trying to tell her that they're trying to get turned back into humans, but she keeps interrupting them. Like, she's messing with her gumbo pot, and
she's like, you want candy?
Just, like, falling asleep. Like, everything under the sun she could possibly do and not paying attention to them at all.
She did it on purpose.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, she goes to her gumbo pot, because she's cooking gumbo, and she's like, this needs a little something. And she tells Tiana to taste it. She's like, just like a little bit of hot sauce will work. She puts some hot sauce in, she's like, now that's exactly what it needed.
Yep.
And so she's trying to tell them, you know, there's a difference between what you want and what you need.
Yeah.
And so there's this whole song about it, too. Gotta dig a little deeper. And she's telling him during the song, she talks to Naveen, saying that, you know, you want to be wealthy and everything, but that's not what you need. And she shows Naveen, Tiana, how she's actually, like, relaxed now, she's dancing, and Naveen's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then she tries talking to Tiana, so she's like, you know, you want your restaurant, all of that, you know, great, all of that, but, you know, there's more to it that you need. You're missing something.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get it.
No. But she's like, because she's trying to get them to understand how she's going to turn them back into humans, but, she does say that Naveen will have to kiss Charlotte before midnight while she's the princess of the Mardi Gras in order to be turned back.
Need to kiss a princess.
Yeah. So they are going to make their way back to New Orleans, and Lewis is like, well, let's just get on this little riverboat here. Which, of course, Ray and Tiana and Naveen are small enough that they can hide, but Lewis is an alligator, so he's not exactly the smallest creature in the world.
Like, but these musicians are in costumes.
Yeah.
And they think Ray is just a costume. He's in costume. With his trumpet. So they're like, why don't you just play with us? And Lewis is like, yes!
He's super excited. That's all he's ever wanted.
And he's like, yay! And he just goes plays with them.
Yeah.
And Ray and Tiana follow along. And Naveen's like, no, I'm gonna stay back. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Yeah.
This is so freaking cute. I was like, oh my god, this is adorable.
And he makes a little ring out of rope and a bracelet. And,
it's like a little pearl, too. It's so cute. I was like, oh, how cute.
And he's, like, talking to Evangeline, you know, the star.
Yeah.
Saying, why can't he tell Tiana that he loves her? But Ray flies up and hears that and thinks that he's talking to Evangeline. Like, why can't he tell Evangeline that he loves her?
And Ray's like, that's mine. Back off.
Yeah.
And Naveen's like, no, I'm not talking about Evangeline. I'm talking about Tiana.
Yep, and he tells Ray not to tell Tiana. Okay, so Naveen takes Tiana to this little private dinner where she's, like, super shocked about it, but she's actually really happy. He
minced!
Yeah. But he's, like, really nervous, so he,
This is so cute. I just
he
can't.
keeps going on about, like, every woman he's ever dated, and, like, just going on, and I'm like, why?
It's like, oh, it's so freaking cute how nervous he is. It's just like,
Yeah.
I can't.
He calls her one of the guys, and then he's, like, tripping over everything. He messes up the food.
And she just thinks it's adorable. She's like,
yeah.
she's like, oh, you're cute.
Yeah. And Naveen's, like, about to propose to her, but Tiana interrupts him and goes on about, like, she starts talking about her restaurant and
she
her
sees
plans
it.
for it and everything.
Because the boat goes by the sugar mill.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's all I've ever dreamed of and all of that. And she she really needs to get that money in.
Yeah.
Or she'll lose it. And Naveen realizes that, just to help her out, he can't, be with her.
Marry her.
Yeah, he's like, I have to, go to Charlotte to get the money to help Tiana.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, all right. He's like, I'm gonna go find the boy so we can get going.
Yep.
And he's all sad. And she's like, then Tiana sees Evangeline in the sky. She's like, I don't know what I want anymore.
Yeah. And, Naveen gets silently dragged off by the, shadows. So then we jump to Charlotte, and she's, like, banging on a door, calling for Prince Naveen, because he needs to hurry up for their Mardi Gras wedding. But Lawrence isn't ready yet.
He's like, because he is Lawrence right now. He's not Naveen, because he doesn't have any blood left from Naveen.
Yep. And, but some shadows appear and give Lawrence Facilier's hat where, or no, the shadows show up and they have
Naveen, and they put it in,
into the hat.
Yeah, Facilier's hat. And so he's like, yes, we're good. So.
Yep.
And Lawrence has the talisman, and so he does the blood thing again, and he's good to go.
Yep. And then, Tiana and Ray realize that Naveen isn't there.
It's so funny. Ray's like, where's the ring at? She's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, I wasn't supposed to say anything, I swear. And
he said that he plans to marry her after kissing Charlotte and getting them both turned back into human.
And so Tiana's like, yay! And so they're looking to see, they're going to the parade, the Mardi Gras parade, and they see on top of the float that it's Charlotte and, air quotes, Naveen on there. Yeah. And Tiana's like, what?
Yeah.
She's confused. She's like, well then, how am I still a frog if he's up there? Because I don't think she forgot that there was, the other person playing as Naveen. But Lawrence was.
Yeah, and Ray points it out. He's like, Mama Odie said that if he kisses Charlotte, y'all would both be turned back into humans, so how is he human when you're not?
Exactly. And she's just so done.
Yeah.
So she just wanders off.
Yep. And Ray's flying around looking for her, and he tries to comfort her when he finds her, but she's super mad and yells at him that Evangeline's not real and it's just a star.
He's like, she's just sad.
Yeah. And, Lawrence is preparing to wed Charlotte, and Facilier is preparing to kill Big Daddy with a voodoo doll.
Yes. And he's got this needle, and it's his heart sewn into there, and he's got it ready to go on his heart.
Yeah. And then Ray finds Naveen locked in a small chest next to Lawrence and lets him out. And
he's like, I can't hear you. I'm going to get you out. It's like, what?
I love that part. That's so funny. So Naveen is like super pissed because he knows that this is Lawrence in his body. And so they're fighting, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and he's like hanging on to like trying to get it off, so he like Lawrence like couples off the float.
Yeah.
But
Naveen is able to get the talisman off of Lawrence's neck and throws it over to Ray. And the Shadows and Facilier run after Ray because they're trying to get the talisman back. And Lewis, he was still playing with the musicians in the crowd, but he stops because he sees that Ray's in trouble, and he starts growling. And then all the musicians realize that he's an actual alligator.
They're like, oh my god, he's a real gator.
Yeah. Ray gets over to Tiana and explains what this talisman does, and he says this proves that what they saw wasn't true. And she takes it from him to go do something in a minute. But Ray stays behind to try and take on the Shadows because he's got his little light butt, so he's trying to kill him. And but Facilier shows up and, dispatches of the Firefly very quickly because he's a human.
He hits him, knocks him down. I can never watch this part. Every single time I have seen this movie, I always close my eyes at this part because he steps on Ray and you hear the crunch, and I'm like, I can't watch this. I can't.
Yeah. And then Lewis comes running up, and he sees Ray on the ground, and is like, well... And he's just like, there's nothing he can do about it. So he runs off after Tiana, who is still being chased by the Shadows and Facilier. And she's like threatening to break the talisman into 1,000,000 pieces, but
Dr. Facilier,
he does a little enchantment
and shows her what it could be like with her restaurant and everything. She sees like this man looks like Naveen from the back, and she gets all excited because he's playing, like a little guitar, and then he turns around, it's not him, and she gets sad. And then she realizes, wait, there's more.
Yeah.
There's more. And he's trying to convince, I'll give you back your, just give me the talisman, I'll turn you human again. And she just like, no, there's more to this than, that you need.
Yeah. And, so she tells him no, and, he tells her, he's like, I know all about your sacrifices, and everyone doubting your abilities, and that you have been working hard for your father, and your father worked really hard for this, but you still don't have enough money. And he's just, like, putting her down.
She's like, my father never got what he wanted, but he had what he needed.
Yeah.
So she tries throwing it down, the talisman on the ground, but Facilier's shadow that he always has with him, which I think is really cool, grabs it instead. And so the entire thing just, disappears, and she's still a frog. And he tries pinning her down with, his little walking stick he has. But what she does, he calls her a slimy little frog. And she's like, it's not slime, it's mucus. And she uses her tongue to get the talisman from him. And she smashes it on the ground.
Yeah, and the shadow guy is, super horrified, and now he knows he's not going to be able to pay his debts back, and totem heads start shooting up out of the ground.
Sorry, I like that part.
No, you're good. I like the voodoo music. It's awesome.
And so they drag him.
Yeah. And
they drag him into the
voodoo
shadows.
dolls, and like it's just like this really dark, really cool scene. And Tiana sees that the prince is locked away, and she's like super shocked about it. And one of the enormous totem heads sucks Facilier's shadow up, and the doctor himself, because they're going to sacrifice his soul in exchange for his unpaid debts.
Yeah. And it's all sucked in, and you see on like his gravestone, it's like Facilier's like screaming face.
Yeah.
I was like, that's dark. I like it.
And then there's a gravestone that has the Shadow Man's face on it. And then Charlotte is banging on the door again.
She's like, where's my prince?
Yeah, she's like trying to get Lawrence to open the door because she doesn't realize that it's Lawrence. And she breaks in, but instead of seeing Naveen, she sees Lawrence, and she screams and runs off.
And he runs away too. And Naveen's there. He's like, hold up. Then he gets squashed in the book again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he tries to tell her who she is. And Tiana arrives to see Lawrence being put into the back of the police car, and she sees Charlotte and Naveen sitting on the steps, where Naveen is explaining to Charlotte what happened to him and Tiana, and Charlotte's like, well, I want to get married.
He's like, alright. He's like, but you have to give Tiana the money she needs for her restaurant. And she's like, because she's my Evangeline.
Yep. Which Charlotte doesn't know what that means.
And Tiana hears everything. She hears all of this.
Yeah. And so Charlotte and Naveen are about to kiss, but Tiana stops Naveen, and he tells her that he says, like, this is the only way you're going to get what you want. And she's like, maybe it's not what I want anymore, pretty much.
Yeah.
But Charlotte sees that they're in love, and so she agrees to kiss Naveen without marrying him. Like, she's not going to marry him.
She's turning back human.
Yeah.
But then it strikes that it's midnight.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she tries, but it doesn't work.
Yeah. Lewis comes running up, and he's got Ray in his little hands. Well, I guess his hands are big. But they stay with him till he passes away, and they do his little his funeral ceremony in the bayou where his Firefly relatives are. It's a cute little ceremony and everything. And it's kind of cool because you see that there's another new little star that appears right next to the evening star. So Ray and Evangeline did end up being together.
Yeah.
Then Mama Odie performs the marriage ceremony for Naveen and Tiana. And as they kiss, they get turned back into humans.
Because she says, now that Tiana is a princess, it works now.
Yeah.
She's like, that's why she's trying to drive home the entire time.
Yeah.
So then, after like, yay! And I love her dress. I do. I'll admit this. Actually, fun fact. So, after, like, this was my senior year, I saw this, right?
Yeah.
So after I watched this movie, for my senior prom, I had a green dress just like Tiana's.
Oh, that's...
Told you I love this movie.
So, now that they're humans, they get formally married as humans, and Eudora's excited, and Naveen's parents are happy, and Tiana throws the little bouquet, and Charlotte catches it and everything.
And then Naveen and Tiana go to those two brothers that were selling the sugar mill. And she pushes all of the coins toward them. And they're like, look at her. And then they have Lewis right there. And he growls at him. And they're like, okay, here you go. Here's the key.
So they get to work and they start renovating the property to make it a nice, beautiful restaurant. And they have Lewis as one of the performers in the band. And
yeah, it's not called Tiana's Place now. It's called Tiana's Palace.
Yeah.
Because she's technically a princess.
Yep. And then they're up on the rooftop. I guess it's like after like the evening of opening night or somewhere in there. And you see everyone. You see Charlotte and Big Daddy, Naveen's parents, Eudora. You see them all there. Everybody's there and they're all super excited for this. And then Tiana and Naveen are up on the rooftop dancing and they have their little kiss.
Yeah, it's a reprise, I believe. Yeah, it's a reprise of the Almost There.
Yeah. So
it's like, and then it ends. Yay.
Yep.
That's it.
So, as we stated before, music for this was composed by Randy Newman, who got started on the Lively set. He did the lyrics for the song Look at Me in 1964. I'm probably going to butcher this name, but he is currently working on Huevitos? Fugues? I don't know.
Huevitos and Fuga.
But it's a animated comedy. That's all I know about it so far.
Huh.
It's set to come out sometime next year, I think. But he's currently working on that. But he's also got Toy Story 4 music. He did the music for that, and that's coming out
in June.
Yeah, like in 2 months. So
woo! I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I love Toy Story.
He is known for Toy Story, of course. He's done all 4 of those. He's known for Cars. He's done all 3 of those. Meet the Parents, and then Monsters, Inc., which was on our list. We've talked about that one. He has won 2 Oscars. He has 40 other awards and 80 nominations. His 2 Oscars, the first one came in 2002 for Best Music Original Song, If I Didn't Have You for Monsters, Inc. And then 2011, Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Pictures Original Song, We Belong Together in Toy Story 3. Like I said earlier, I do enjoy the music to this. Even though it's jazzy, it's not as jazzy as some of the stuff I've heard, so it's a little bit more subtle to me, so I like it. Like, there is some really jazzy stuff that I'm not big on in this, but still, most of it is that subtle jazz, so I'm like, okay, I can handle this.
It's a lot of, since it's based in New Orleans, it's a lot of Dixieland.
Yeah.
A lot of which is like, small group stuff. I mean, I love that they really emphasize the jazz because, New Orleans is like one of the birthplaces of jazz.
Yeah.
It is. Plain and simple. And it showed that 1920s style of jazz, too. It is early jazz. Because jazz has evolved over the years, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's great music, though. Man.
Yeah, I do like the music.
Great songs. It's funny, like, every time I hear one of these songs come on, I just start singing along. I do. Every time. Like, if I have my Pandora channel up, and, like, Princess and the Frog comes on, I'm just singing along. Every time. But, that's me.
So there's not really... there is a comparison, just kind of like a little one. They were, in the last season of Once Upon a Time, able to put Tiana and Naveen and Facilier in Once Upon a Time. And she's still trying to get her restaurant. And his... Like, it seems like in that one, they were together but then Naveen went to Facilier for something, and so now she's, like, mad at him and doesn't trust Naveen. But she's got a food truck that she runs with her friend, who is actually the new Cinderella in Once Upon a Time. It's all just kind of a, like, little convoluted story.
Oh, okay.
The way they tie it all together, it makes sense, but it's been a while since I've seen it, so I can't quite remember. But I do know that I liked the actress that they picked to play Tiana.
Okay, good.
And I liked that they still had her with that dream of being a restaurant owner and a cook.
That makes sense.
But that's really the only comparison.
Alright.
So, trivia?
I mentioned this to you last night, but I'll tell again. So,
I don't know if I remember it.
Tiana's left-handed.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And the reason why is because the actress playing her requested that Tiana be left-handed, because she is also left-handed.
Oh, okay.
And you see it, actually. So in the movie, it looks like she's both left and right-handed, but back then, left-handedness was, people tried to fix it. Everyone wanted to be right-handed. Like, they're trying to force you to be right-handed.
That's interesting.
I mean, I've heard this even from, like, some of my relatives are saying that they knew some people that were left-handed naturally, but they were forced to right-handed. And so you see Tiana riding kind of with her right hand, but she throws those things at Naveen with her left hand. And she's stronger with her left hand.
Yeah.
So she is left-handed.
Okay.
He's got to notice those little things. So over the years, Disney has used sometimes the different voice actor than the singing.
Uh-huh.
For sure. And this one is the first one since Beauty and the Beast that the voice actor sang and did the voice for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Since Beauty and the Beast, which was, God, Beauty and the Beast came in 91. This is 2009. So, jeez. 18 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time. It is,
yeah.
For sure. Of course, this made me, I knew this right away. I didn't even have to look this up. So Louis is based, of course, on Louis Armstrong. But there's also, not just Louis Armstrong. I mean, the trumpet player Louis Armstrong. But he's also, there's Louis Armstrong, there's Louis Jordan, and there's Louis Prima. So it's based off 3 jazz musicians named Louis.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Fun fact there. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm thinking, what else? If you didn't know this, I actually looked this up. So Emerald, you know who Emerald is, right? The chef.
Yeah.
He's in this
movie.
movie.
The one in the beginning.
Yeah, he's in the movie. He is one of the alligators trying to eat Naveen and Tiana. And he actually says his catchphrase in there.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's got to really listen to it. What else? Trying to think. Because there's a lot going on in here. And I know Mama Odie is based off an actual, like, voodoo queen from New Orleans, but different name.
That's cool.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, favorite line. I've got a few. I think I've got like 3 or 4, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Louis trying to give Ray CPR with a straw. He goes, "You okay, little buddy?" "Oh, I'm fine, but your breath done killed me to death." I love that one. That was funny. Prince Naveen, after Tiana freaked out about the dogs talking to her. "You know, if you're gonna let every little thing bother you, it's gonna be a very long night." Let's see. Hold on, I gotta find it now. This is at the very beginning. I only have 2 more. Lawrence, Lawrence, glad to see you're finally getting into the music. Do you get my joke? Because your head, it's in the tuba.
It's in a tuba.
And then Mama Odie, not bad for a 197-year-old blind lady. That's what I got.
I have Charlotte. This is one of hers. She says, I swear I'm sweating like a sinner in church.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious. One of Tiana's lines after she's seen, Charlotte and Naveen talking. Disney has to have their one classic liners in here. And she says, my dream wouldn't be complete without you in it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cute. Where's my other one? Thinking. Oh. Hey, this is the very beginning. Like, very, very, very beginning of the movie. This is where it starts out. This is actually, like, the first time you hear Tiana singing. It's, the evening star is shining bright, so make a wish and hold on tight. There's magic in the air tonight, and anything can happen.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's really long, though.
It is. It's like, that's how it starts out with some singing. So I've always liked that line.
Yeah. So this one's yours. So what do you think?
I'm gonna.
Oh, I got one more. Hold on, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I just saw it. There's no way I'm kissing a frog and eating a bug in the same day.
Oh, that's a good line too.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you think?
I like the bug one.
The one I just said?
Yep.
Alright. There's no way I'm kissing a frog and eating a bug in the same day.
Because she is so sassy when she says it. She's like, I'm not kissing a frog and eating a bug in the same day.
That's funny. I like that one.
Yep. I like it. Let's do it.
Alright. So what is your rating?
I'm giving it a 9. Solid 9. Great animation. I love how it goes back to the hand-drawn animation for sure.
Yeah, I really like hand-drawn animation.
I mean, I love it. I mean, we grew up with it too, which helps.
Yeah, because that also helps with the fact that they don't really animate the background, but because it's hand-drawn, it looks better.
Yes, they really have to focus on all the details with this.
Yeah.
Great story, great voice acting for sure. Amazing songs. Man, I love jazz for sure. I think the biggest one for me is Tiana is a great role model.
Yeah.
She's an amazing role model. She's like, even though she still gets her prince, that's not the main focus in this at all.
No, her main focus is her dream.
It's her dream of pursuing her dream.
Yeah.
Getting her restaurant, working hard.
Yeah. I agree with all of that. I'm giving it an 8. Just because I'm not big on the jazz, but I do like the voodoo in it. I just think it's fascinating. I am slightly afraid to go to New Orleans because of voodoo. One of my friends at work went to New Orleans on a little vacation, and I told her, beware of the voodoo people. She's scared of, like, everything, so she just looked at me with huge eyes. It was pretty funny.
I've always wanted to go down to New Orleans.
Yeah, I do want to go down
Mostly,
there.
it's for the jazz history down there. That's why I want to go.
I just want to go because of, like, all the history. It looks like a really cool place. I want to go to Mardi Gras one day. That would be fun.
I hear that is crazy down there.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
Like, crazy. Like, New Year's Eve in Times Square crazy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's alright. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to experience all those kinds of things at least once.
Exactly.
And then I really like Shadow Man and Facilier. I think they're cool.
For sure.
But yeah, I just, for me, it just doesn't fit up there with my 9s or my 10s. That's the only reason I put it down at an 8.
I get you.
Just don't like it quite as much as I like those other movies I put up there, so.
Yeah, I mean, this, like, again, I can compare this with Beauty and the Beast to you.
Yeah.
I can.
I actually like this one more than Beauty and the Beast, because Beauty and the Beast is more romance-centered, rather as this one is more focused on Tiana's dream.
Yeah.
So, our next film is Ralph Breaks the Internet. So we will see you in a few minutes for that one.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.